Martin, Sam said, layering on a thick French accent. He'd learned the language as a child, and had spent so many years on the continent that he could speak the language fluently and as flawlessly as a native. "His lordship expects me." "Of course, sir." Richard's expression didn't change, but there was a slight flicker of something in his eyes. The French weren't the most popular of people in England right now, and this man didn't particularly approve of a frog-eater visiting his master. The butler stepped aside to allow Sam into the entry hall. Sam kept his hat low over his brow, his face turned away and in shadows. "May I take your hat and coat, sir?" "No, it is not necessary. My message is a quick one." With a flick of his wrist, he gestured toward the interior of the house, then toward the front door. "I shall be in and out in a matter of moments." "Very well. Right, this way." Sam followed the servant up a narrow set of stairs, then down a corridor lit sparsely with two gilded wall sconces set widely apart. They stopped at the elegant door at its end, and Richards knocked before opening the door to the gruff, "Yes," from its other side. Sam waited in a shadow between the sconces, his gaze lowered. "Mr. Martin is here, sir." There was a pause, long enough to make the hairs on the back of Sam's neck crawl. "Enter, Martin." Richards opened the door wider, moving aside to allow Sam to pass. Sam stepped into the drawing room. Once inside, he raised his head. As always, he scanned his surroundings. He'd been in this room before, conducting preliminary information gathering. Nothing had changed. The furniture crowding the place bordered on ostentatious, with much carved oak and gilt and silk and velvet upholstering. The many-paned window hung on the opposite wall, large and square, and covered by that indigo curtain. He pictured Laurent down there, anxiously awaiting him. Laurent wouldn't need to wait long. In minutes, Sam would be back in the carriage and they'd be fading into the night. His gaze moved to his target. Viscount Dunthorpe was in his late 40s, with a full head of grey hair and dark, penetrating eyes that let nothing slip past. He was well known for his biting cynicism and cold wit, and as one of the most brilliant debaters in Parliament. He was also a traitor. "Lord Dunthorpe." Keeping his French accent firmly in place, Sam held out his hand. "It is an honor to finally make your acquaintance." His face impassive, the Viscount took Sam's hand. The handshake was terse and businesslike. Dunthorpe turned to his servant. "That will be all, Richards. You may retire for the evening." After the butler left, Dunthorpe gazed at Sam, his expression cold and calculating. Sam schooled his own features to absolute flatness. He needed to delay for approximately 60 seconds. That would give Richard sufficient time to walk to his quarters in the attic. "Do you have the schedule?" Dunthorpe asked. "Oui, I do," Sam said gruffly. Dunthorpe held out his hand, palm open. "Give it over," he commanded. He spoke as a man accustomed to authority. Sam glanced meaningfully at the tea service he'd seen placed on a round table in the corner. "Will you invite me to tea, my lord?" Dunthorpe crossed his arms over his chest and gave Sam an arch look. "Indeed, I hadn't intended to do any such thing." Sam rubbed his frigid hands together. He hadn't worn gloves for a reason. "It is very cold outside. Brandy, then?" Dunthorpe narrowed his eyes. "Ha! French brandy? What do you take me for, a common smuggler?" No, this man dealt in much more serious crimes. Sam shook his head. "Mais non," he said gravely. "Of course not, milord." Dunthorpe sneered. "You haven't even removed your hat. You don't look at all like a man interested in settling down for a nice cup of tea or a nip of brandy. You look like a man prepared to do your